Trauma doesn't just affect the mind. It leaves a lasting imprint on the body as well, shaping how we experience the world around us. In The Body Keeps the Score, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk dives deep into the connection between trauma and the brain, offering groundbreaking insights into healing. Trauma can rewire the brain, affecting everything from emotions to memory, and the body often holds on to this trauma in ways we don't even realize. When someone experiences trauma, the brain's survival instincts take over, activating the amygdala, the brain's fear center. This creates heightened emotional responses, like constant anxiety or irritability. Imagine a soldier returning from war. The loud noise of a car backfiring might cause them to jump or panic, even though they're no longer in a dangerous situation. Their brain remains on high alert, and this is a direct result of the trauma they've experienced. But trauma isn't just in the brain. The body also keeps a record of what the mind can't fully process. Survivors may develop chronic pain, tension, or even illnesses like digestive issues or autoimmune diseases. Take, for example, someone who grew up in an abusive environment. Years later, they might find themselves battling constant stomach problems or muscle tension, even though they don't consciously connect it to their childhood experiences. This physical manifestation of trauma is what Dr. van der Kolk refers to as the body keeping the score. Traditional therapy, like talk therapy, is often helpful but can fall short when dealing with trauma. That's because trauma is stored not just in words but in the body and the nonverbal parts of the brain. For instance, a survivor of a car accident might startle at the sound of headlights at night, even though they don't consciously remember the crash. Simply talking about the event may not address the body's deep, ongoing response. This is why Dr. van der Kolk emphasizes therapies that focus on mind-body connections. One such therapy is EMDR, or eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. EMDR helps the brain reprocess traumatic memories, essentially allowing the brain to digest them. Think of a woman who has experienced sexual assault. After several EMDR sessions, she might find that the emotional pain tied to that memory is reduced or even erased. The memory is still there, but it no longer carries the same power to hurt her. Another highly effective approach is yoga. Yoga can help trauma survivors reconnect with their bodies, allowing them to regain a sense of safety and control. For example, a woman recovering from domestic violence might use yoga to ground herself in the present and rebuild trust in her own body. With mindful breathing and movement, she learns to reconnect with herself in a way that feels nurturing and safe. Mindfulness is another important tool for healing. It helps trauma survivors stay in the present moment, breaking the cycle of negative thoughts and anxious feelings that often accompany trauma. It's like when someone who's experienced deep loss starts to find peace in simple daily moments, like sitting in the sun or walking through a park. Mindfulness helps them experience life as it is now, without the constant pull of past trauma. There's also neurofeedback, which uses technology to monitor and retrain brain activity. This helps the brain develop healthier patterns. For example, a child with PTSD who has trouble focusing at school might benefit from neurofeedback. Over time, this therapy can help regulate their emotional responses, improving their ability to concentrate and feel calm. Dr. van der Kolk also highlights the critical role relationships play in trauma recovery. Healing from trauma doesn't happen in isolation. It requires safe, supportive connections. Trauma survivors often struggle with trust, and rebuilding relationships can be one of the most powerful aspects of recovery. For example, a person who's experienced neglect or abuse may initially find it difficult to trust others. However, through supportive therapy or a caring community, they begin to rebuild that trust. Feeling seen, understood, and safe in relationships helps them heal emotionally and physically. On a societal level, The Body Keeps the Score encourages us to consider the broader impact of trauma. Dr. van der Kolk argues that many social issues, such as addiction, violence, and even some mental health struggles, are rooted in unresolved trauma. He advocates for trauma-informed care, where healthcare professionals, educators, and the public understand the impact of trauma and approach it with empathy and practical solutions. By recognizing and addressing trauma on a larger scale, we can create a more supportive and healing environment for everyone. Ultimately, the body keeps the score is a powerful reminder that trauma doesn't define who we are. It's something that, with the right approach, we can heal from. Dr. Kolk's insights offer hope, showing us that we don't have to carry the weight of trauma forever. Through understanding how trauma affects the brain and body, and using innovative treatments like EMDR, yoga, and mindfulness, we can find our way back to a place of safety, health, and emotional well-being. It's a journey of reclaiming control and embracing the possibility of healing.